Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner. We're back here on the VSW podcast. We're going to interview a friend here, somebody that we've seen just recently take quite a beating from Victoria Fox. I did want to originally interview him about his match coming up with XUC and some of the other things that have happened over the last few months. And then I saw what was released today from Extreme Underground Club Wrestling, and my God. So we're gonna check in with Tuff Daddy right now. Let's give him a call. See if he's gonna answer.
Hello?
Hey, Tuff Daddy.
Hey, what's up?
What is going on? Good to hear from you again. Welcome back to the VSW podcast. There's been a few things, some changes have taken place since the last time we talked.
Yes. A lot has changed actually, I think.
Yeah, last time I talked to you, you were holding two different titles. One KPW title, one reunion title. KPW no longer in existence. RW, unfortunately, you got screwed out of that by Ray Ranson. He's now champion. So, yeah, kind of
I
just...
got screwed out of that by the Bitter Club, but
Well, yeah,
yeah.
but you know what I'm saying? So lots changed. But the emergence of Extreme Underground Club has came up. I saw your name on the roster list. As you know, I have gotten... Every week, I get another video, and every week I'm just asked just to simply commentate, upload. That's it. I don't know who's really running the polling or doing any of this. And unlike the previous, KPW stuff, this is really like secretive. I really honestly don't know. Like, I kind of knew who was pulling strings before, but like this, totally in the dark about. But, I do get to see the roster list, and some of the names were familiar. And of course, I saw Tuff Day. I'm like, oh, well, I know him. It's got to be legit. We've had him on the show many a times. We've worked with him. We've done things together. So, I saw that you were going to be facing, Brian Albertson. And that's a great matchup. I was going to have you on the show to talk about that coming up. And then I got the footage from today, and I saw what happened. I saw the vicious attack by Victoria Fox. And I just want to know what happened.
I don't know. I mean, I was just downstairs getting ready for my match with Brian Albertson, and next thing I know, she just comes out of nowhere and attacks me. I mean, I don't know what her deal is. I don't know what her problem is, but yeah,
No,
as you saw, it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of new to Victoria Fox, I will admit. She's not someone that was on my radar previous to this, Underground Extreme. But since getting, to watch it again, I've seen some of the match, and I saw her in the opening match. I saw her, win the opening match. Very impressive. I'm just kind of curious. Did you have did you have any dealings with her in the locker room prior to before the show? Did you kind of rub her the wrong way? Was there any issue here? What's the problem? I don't get why you. She walked by somebody else and kind of just he didn't want nothing to do with it, but he clearly wasn't the target. You were targeted here. Are you still with us, Tuff? Tuff Daddy, you're still with us. Huh. I don't know where Tuff Daddy went. Let's try again to call him and see what happened there. Maybe he just lost connection.
Hello?
Yeah, what happened there? We just lose connection.
Oh yeah, I don't know what happened. Actually, I thought we were still online until I saw you were calling back.
Yeah. So
Uh,
what I was saying is, basically, she walked past somebody else and just, brushed them aside. You were there. You were targeted in this attack. This was specifically towards you for some reason. I just don't know. Did you, like I said, did anything happen prior?
no. Like I was saying, I don't know if you got some of it or because I don't know exactly where we lost connection. But like I was saying, I first met her down at the BCW show out in Chicopee, Mass, which I did. We were both contestants in the Rumble, and yeah. So I mean, other than Bay State Championship Wrestling, I haven't never heard of her until that day, and then I never seen her again until the day of Extreme Underground Club's very first taping, and so I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe a statement she's trying to make or whatnot, but
And everything was cool at BC Dub, right? No issues there with her.
no issues. So I mean, as you saw, she just came right up and she started punching me. And if you see the first punch she gave me in my head, I'll admit was like a bobblehead. It literally like whiplashed,
Yeah,
and
it woke you up for sure, and you were probably a little dazed and confused there because you didn't really recoup much after that, and it definitely gave her the edge in that like assault. And like I said originally, I was going to talk about this. Now, it seems you haven't been in UXC for what, about a month maybe, if, and you're already making friends. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird.
I
I've tried to reach out to her as well, and I got no response. I'm kind of afraid to go any further. I don't want a vicious beat down myself, but you know.
mean, unless she's just trying to make a statement and figured she'd go after the hardcore badass. Uh, I mean, that's all I could think of. I mean, I got nothing really against her, so I really don't know what her problem is. I mean, if she just came after me to make a statement, not to mess with her. Well,
Well,
I hate to say, but
well, she should know that's not the way that you're gonna get Tough
I,
Daddy to back off. That's only gonna anger Tough Daddy.
well, yeah, but at the same time, I will definitely say, since she did knock me out, to just be careful of her. Definitely don't mess with her.
No, no.
And I
It,
don't
she's, I mean,
mess
I can tell you from the opening contest, it's not something that you want to mess with. Don't underestimate her either. She's a powerhouse, and she's out to destroy. And she's out to make an example out of anybody in her path. And if you're the toughest guy there, and if that's who she thinks is number one dog, then yeah, then that's probably why she did take you out. Because, there is no champions in UXC. I didn't see anybody with flashy belts or anything like that. But, word on the street is you are, one of the top prospects in that promotion. So, go after the top dog, make a statement. I mean, I get it. I just kind of just
I
don't.
don't give credit to a lot of people, but I'll definitely give credit to her um, for being the first person ever to be able to knock me out in wrestling.
Well, there's always a first, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
that's gonna be something. Now, let me ask you, Tough Daddy, how you plan on handling this? How do you plan on being safe? This is gonna be a continuing thing. I mean,
Uh, Good question. I really don't know, to be honest with you.
I
Still,
have some ideas. I have some things I can do to help, but I mean, I would. I mean, first off, I can tell you this, Tough Day. What I can do for you personally, I can personally escort you to the ring, back and forth, on the next UXC show. I'll be backstage with you. Now, maybe she'll try to attack. Maybe she won't, but if she does, there'll be two of us there. Okay, there'll be two of us to battle her. And, then, like I said, maybe it'll be a little bit more even. That's what I can offer you, my friend.
no, I mean, it definitely sounds good, and I appreciate it. I've always appreciated your your friendship and your family ship. So I mean, I definitely appreciate it, brother.
So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Whenever they send me a date, I'm gonna make sure to be there. I'm gonna make sure to bring you out, and they're just gonna see how tough we can really be in UXC. But you do have a match coming up with Brian Albertson. Any thoughts going into that? And
Um,
how did the assault, or will the assault, if it did, impact you?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm definitely gonna go out and just still give my best, which is all I can say.
I
I
mean, are you injured right now? Do you have any injury, or just you just were shaken
no,
up and now you're
just
kind of
that
back?
night. No, it was just that night. I just got knocked out for maybe a couple of seconds, and then I came to it, and then the rest of the night, I just had like a slight bit of a headache. I didn't go get checked out or anything. I probably should have because I could have had a concussion. Sounds like I might have, but
But you've been cleared back to wrestle, so you can go
oh
and
yeah,
continue your match. That's
yeah,
good to hear. Um, injuries are a big thing in this sport, and I hate when it happens, especially to people that I know, because the recoup time can take a long time, and with the pandemic, I feel the doctors, everything, it takes an extra long time. But that is good to hear that you're almost back and ready to go in it, and you're having a good time at UXC. Seems like a pretty cool place to be.
yeah. It's XUC. I think you said UXC.
Oh, did I? Yes, yes. Sorry, Extreme Underground Club,
Yes.
XUC. But yeah,
And it has quite a good name ring to it. I like it. Extreme Underground Club. I
Extreme
like the ring.
Underground Club. Yeah, I mean it sounds good in theory, whatever it is. It seems pretty good. It's got definitely a different feel to it than the previous, like KPW. It's not obviously in a cage. There's a ring there. Seems like there's real wrestling going on. I don't really see that
And
much
the other thing,
hardcoreness going on.
and the other thing I really like with XUC is as you know, I'm into all types of wrestling. I've said that before, even though and everybody knows my absolute type of favorite wrestling is hardcore and extreme style. But as you know, because I mean I know that you know, but not too many people do know this. Is my other absolute favorite is the old territory days of wrestling, and the way that the guys would actually fight. It was like literally combat
Yeah.
sport. You don't see much anymore today, especially not with well, we can't say for copyright reasons, but we can say at least the stuff on TV.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
some of the
yeah.
stuff on the internet, but I like the fact that they're bringing back the old territory days, where you just walk out, no music, and you just feel the vibe. You get the vibe from the crowd. You just. I mean, obviously there was no crowd there. It was an empty arena show. It was a taping. But it looks like it's doing pretty good so far. It looks like people are actually enjoying that old territory style vibe, and I know I'm definitely digging it. And some of the guys that I talked to that are also part of AWLs, that were there that night.
Yeah, I saw some familiar faces there. I
Oh,
saw Maniac Mike on the card, and we saw him in the
yeah,
second match
and
there.
they all say the same that they're enjoying the old territory day vibe that they miss that type of wrestling. You
Well,
know,
I guess now they can enjoy it here at Extreme Underground Club.
oh yeah, definitely.
So something new and something old all kind of combined together and brought back. I like it. I like it. Sometimes it's not so much you have to reinvent the wheel here. It's just kind of just finding what worked and making it and refreshing it. And I think that's what they've done here at XUC.
Definitely. I mean, I know you and I, we always see eye to eye in wrestling. So we both like the same style and type of wrestling, from the indie stuff to the old ECW, XPW, right down to the old territory days. And I know, just like me, you don't care too much for the stuff that's on TV today because a lot of it's just bland and it's more soap opera like.
It
You know,
is. It is.
if I want to see a soap opera, I'll just turn on the wait until 10 or 11, whenever it is that it comes on, and I'll watch stuff like Days of Our Lives, All My Children, or
Yeah, I mean, I like a good story. I like a good beef, but I mean, come on. I like a good wrestling match too, and this is what it seems to be: good wrestling. There seems to be some technical wrestling involved, old school wrestling, old school moves. It's not too jazzy, not too flashy, but it's not brawling either. It's not just straight hardcore bashing each other with chairs and weapons. It seems like it's, an all around just old school wrestling promotion. I like that. I can vibe with that. Something I can get behind. Like I said, Tough Daddy, I'm gonna come to the next show. I'm gonna personally protect you from, Victoria Fox trying to sneak attack you again, because that's not cool. I mean, I get it if you did something to her, if you had some beef with her, if this was part of your match, or if that was even your opponent, she wanted to get the upper edge, but you're literally, just minding your own business, talking to maybe some old friends you've seen from AWL or BCW, whatever promotions these guys came from, and you just got blindsided and attacked, and that's not cool. Like I said, we're gonna do something about that. I got something planned for this, so you just don't have to worry about that at the next show, whenever that might be. I'm not really sure. I haven't got any information. Like I said, they still said they're sending me more videos for this show, the secret show. So, like I said, I know you're gonna be having a match going up with Brian soon. That's gonna be something spectacular. As always, it's always good to see you wrestle, and we don't get to see it too much recently, as there's been kind of a shortage of promotions and that have been running, and KPW was running kind of like on time and on point, and then it just, like I said, it collapsed and it was dead. So with that is, and the only good thing is we do see you back in RW, which is nice.
oh yeah.
Although you have trouble now with the Bitter Club, so that's not so nice.
Well, I've been feuding with them since RW1, when they put on their first show at the old chop shop out in Pawtucket, Mass, which a lot of promotions ran out of.
Oh yeah, great little venue, very historical in New England wrestling. Really, it is. So many
And
great promotions ran out of there. So many things. Even AWL, I think, ran out of there at one point.
yes, they did. There was them. There was the company Jay Frost ran, which was Warrior Wrestling. There was the RICW, the Rhode Island Championship Wrestling.
And you had RWA, of
Proving
course.
Ground did a few shows
Proving
there.
Ground did do.
I believe Mass Anarchy Wrestling, I think, did a couple of shows there, which I know both Brian Albison as well as Manic Mike wrestled for. They also wrestled for the promotion that owned the Chop Shop too, which was RWA, which also has a lot of good wrestling.
Yeah, so I mean, very historical. So you've been going and feuding with them for a very long time. It just seems like wherever you go, whatever the promotion, you have some sort of feud. Whether it's either with, arch nemesis is like, Ray Ransom and those Bitter Club guys, or now you got new foes, like Victoria Fox trying to take, whatever you had left in wrestling and
Oh, yeah.
bury it.
Or even in KPW, where as you know, who I was feuding with, and then the guy, unfortunately, who trained me, just, I don't know, for some reason, I don't know what happened there. But I mean, hey, like you always say, good things don't always last. So
No, they don't, and it went where it went, and that's not why I really brought you on the show. I really thought about that. Like I said, that's kind of dead and gone, buried, and really, I don't really care too much to talk much about the KPW days.
I was just,
Not that it was, not that there was anything wrong, not that it was scandalous or anything like dark and dirty and secret, none of that. But it's just honestly, a lot of it was a lot of stress. It brought a lot of stress to me. It brought a lot of stress, I'm sure, to you and others involved, and it just didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to turn out. Unfortunately, that can happen in any business or any venture or anything that you do. The expectation doesn't always meet what actually happens, and unfortunately, it can be disappointing. But
yeah, no, but I was just trying to agree with you though that you're right. It seems like every promotion I go to, for some reason, somebody always wants to come after me, whether if it's because they think they're a better brawler, or they're maybe better at hardcore, or
they
maybe
heard
they
the story
fight
of you, yeah.
don't like me for whatever reason. like the Bitter Club, they just don't like me for whatever the reason is that they don't like
Now,
me. And
refresh my memory again. Who's in the Bitter Club again?
Scott Levesque, Ray Ranson, Scotty Jive, Peter Crave, and Eric Dillon.
Yeah, those are like definitely some guys you don't want to like run into in a dark alley in the night. I'm just saying, those are some tough dudes, and yeah, they don't like you, unfortunately. But and they're all great wrestlers. They're all New England, in my opinion, New England legends. They've been in the game for a while. They know what they're doing. They didn't just start yesterday. So, you got yourself your hands full there. Now, like I said, you got a new person, kind of just trying to gun you out here. You had your ex-trainer trying to gun you out there. I saw what you did in BCW. That was pretty good. I mean, it didn't last long, but you had the Rumble.
Oh yeah,
That was fun.
I was actually lucky enough to be eliminated by Lucas Chase.
Nice, nice.
So I mean, hey, if people like Scott Levesque like to brag about, all these stars that he wrestled, well, you know what? I might have been eliminated, but at least I still got to face the guy a little bit in the ring.
Yeah. I mean, that's always good. And that's the thing about this industry. It's not always about winning and losing. Sometimes it's about learning, and what you can learn from your opponent is just as important, as the match itself, as is looking good, and as everything else. But there's a lot to be learned, especially, if you just, stop and listen to what your opponent has to say, especially if they're an older or more seasoned veteran. They've been more around. They know what they're doing. People should stop and listen a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, but a lot of newbies today, they don't know anything about respect or gaining their stripes. I'm not going to say all of them. Some
No,
of
no,
them.
not all of them, because there is a
Um,
whole there's a whole bunch. It all just depends on the person. Really, like
yeah,
anything in life, it
but
depends on the
there are
person.
quite, but there are quite a few in different promotions all throughout the U.S. in the indie scenes that where you hear stories how they're just coming in and they want all this stuff, they're demanding stuff, and then that's not the way it goes. You gotta put your time in, and you gotta build your stripes. You gotta earn the respect. You can't just demand it.
Yeah, I saw something about that the other day, though. About all that. About earning it, and how you have to, kind of work the promotion and set up chairs, and, do the setup, maybe sell tickets, do all this stuff. And they were like, at the end of it, they were just like, this is all just one big lie by the promoter just to get you to work for free. You got to kind of wonder sometimes. But no,
Just
I
like
mean, but
back
if
in
we
the
go, but let's talk, let's forget, that's just for some, food for thought. I don't really want to dive into that now. But if you take it back to the territorial days, like you like to talk, and like kind of what you're into here now,
yeah.
that was really big, carrying the superstars or the champions' bags in. That was a big thing to do. Even driving them. People driving, the superstars, getting them food, running. Other things they had to do. Setting up shows, taking down the ring, setting up the ring. If they knew how to do these things, this was useful, but it was also kind of mandatory if you want to show, I'm with this company. I'm part of you guys. I'm here to help and I'm here to support. I'm here to do whatever it takes. So I get that. You got to kind of make your stripes there and kind of pay your dues and, get into the business that way, including, having matches and stuff. You can't just keep going and setting up. Expect you're going to be champion. You got to prove yourself too. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good talent back there, back in the territorial days. I mean, you had like Ricky Steamboat, Chief J Strongbow, Sawson Slaughter, Roddy Piper, Bam Bam Bigelow, Billy Graham, Boy
Oh
George,
yeah, I mean that's just some of the
and
territories.
the
My
original.
favorite territory was down actually one of my favorite territories down in Texas, and down there you had the Von Erichs, you had Sidney Bacabella down there, you had all these people running muck, but you
Oh,
had a lot of great wrestling that come out of Texas.
oh yeah, even like Terry Funk and his brother,
Yep.
well, something Funk there. Can't think of his
Some
name.
of them still performing today, and it's great. It's a great thing. You'll still see Sydney on the circuits, and you'll still see some of the others, running around doing their thing still today, and it's great. And it does bring you to a reminiscence to a different time in wrestling, where wrestling was a little bit different. It wasn't all this glamour and glitz. It wasn't about, so much about, your attire and if it shined and what was made and the leather and all this. You went out and you did a job, and that's what you did. You had to perform, you had to wrestle. Either you're going to win or lose, but you went out and you had to just do it. Today, there's so many other factors going into it. A lot of, people forget that you actually have to go out and wrestle. And you have to actually go out and fight. And there's a match that's going to happen. It's not just about getting to the ring. You actually have to do something when you're in there. And it's not just, flips and dives. You actually have to, string things together. And, chain wrestle sometimes. And you do things that, that you might not be in your comfort zone, but it's wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
And
If you look at back in the olden days, you had people like one of my favorite wrestlers, Hercules Hernandez. Guy had an amazing full Nelson. Okay, great full Nelson. They actually had him in one of the WrestleMania, I think 2 or 3. I don't know, at 3, I think it was. Or 2, I don't know. He faced Billy Jack Haynes. And whoever could get the full Nelson on first won. And what a great match that was.
Definitely. I mean, one of my favorite wrestlers from territorial days. I mean, everybody knows that my absolute favorite was Mick Foley growing up, but from territorial days, because of when Blockbuster was the thing and you could get those tapes, would have to be Rowdy Piper.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, was he a great wrestler? But I mean, he was just great on the mic, a better actor than Hulk Hogan, I would have to say, for that time. And I mean, all around, he was just great, and he was also a great brawler. And he was also what a lot of people don't realize if they did their research and their history on Rowdy Piper was he was originally an amateur boxer.
Yeah, he was. And if you looked in the first WrestleManias, not so much one because he was thrown in there with Paul Orndorff and it was Mr. T and that. But then all of a sudden, the Rocky stuff happened. Mr. T got even more bigger. And if you look at WrestleMania 2, the match is actually a boxing match between Mr. T and Rowdy Piper. They're wearing gloves. I don't think they're pulling the punches. I think they were literally sparring each other in that.
Oh, even Mr. T says in interviews to this day that him and Rowdy didn't hold back.
No, they really treated it right because Rowdy Piper was a boxer. And that's
Mr. T was also an amateur boxer before going into acting.
Yes, he was.
So I mean, they were both boxers.
And that's another thing about the territorial days that you don't really see here that often now, as a lot of the guys were drafted or taken right from sports. Either you were boxers, baseball players like Randy Savage, football players, like The Rock. They pulled these guys
Savage,
and brought them in.
Yeah, baseball player.
Yeah, Randy Savage was a baseball player.
Yeah. And then you have like Brock Lesnar, The Rock.
UFC, you have football players.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not the old territorial days, but back even then they brought in a lot more athletes. I mean, I even remember Rumbles and Battle Royals where they had, football players in there. They had the Refrigerator Perry was in one of them, in the Battle Royal with the wrestlers, holding his own. And it was also the age of the big man. Big men were okay. It was acceptable to be a big man and wrestle. I feel like today it's not. Like, people don't like that. People down it. Back then, I grew up with people like Haystacks Calhoun, King Kong Bundy. These just giants that would come out and just destroy their opponents. There's something about that. Now, you come out to a guy that's 5'7", 5'6". That's like my height. I'm 5. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. It's not intimidating.
Klotsky with the claw, where he put his whole hand fit right over the guy's face.
Yeah, these characters back in those days were larger than life, and it's very hard to recreate that. But if you can't create the characters, at least recreate the wrestling. And I think that's what's going to happen here with Extreme Underground Club. I really do. I think it's going to grow into something like that.
They do a lot of like what we today call either hardcore or brawls, It was literally a lot of their matches were no DQs.
No,
Uh,
there was no such thing for rules. And people like think that hardcore happened, in the '90s, with ECW. Yes, this all is true. It was extreme, but if you go back to '70s wrestling and '80s wrestling, it was pretty brutal. I mean,
like
people were bleeding almost every match. There was blood everywhere. I mean, I have old magazines and they're covered in blood. The guys.
oh yeah, like some of the old cage matches with Stupefy Snooker, where you'd see him and his other opponent, like just bloody from the cage
Ric
match.
Flair would bleed almost every night that he wrestled.
Oh yeah, and you even had Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and guys like that would bleed almost every night too.
They did, and it happened, and so it was a much. I think it was actually a more bloody sport back then than it is more, at least today. I mean, yes, the '90s got up there, and hardcore took its peak in extreme wrestling, and XPW. Even though they resurfaced today, it's not as big. Yes, GCW death matches is great, but it's not at its highest level as ECW was at its prime. I feel, but there is still a small demand for it. There's a niche for it.
Or even the like old empty arena matches, like some of the ones Terry Funk and Jerry Lawler had when they were feuding.
Oh yeah, they would fight all sometimes. Just nobody there.
And I know the WWF tried to do it for a little while back in Sunday Night Heat days, like the one that The Rock and Mankind had, and there was a few others, and I mean they were great
The
matches.
problem is though the
But they
fans
can't
don't like it.
go territory.
The problem is the fans don't like it. You could see that in the pandemic when there was no fans. The fans didn't like watching wrestling without other fans. The fans didn't like to not hear fans cheer or boo when people came out. They missed the pop. Without that, a lot of fans I think felt lost. How do you do that? I like kind of like how NWA does. They have a studio audience. That's kind of the way around it. A live studio audience. And they treat it as a show, and that's what it was. Wrestling was a show, and it was a spot on TV locally. It was a spot on TV locally. It didn't become, national television, I think, until Vince took over and kind of, took a bunch of territories, bought them out, kind of did a little switcheroo and old tricks, and then kind of, created something bigger. And then you had Ted Turner doing the same thing with WCW and all of that, and Crockett. So, and NWA, and you had all these people just kind of just doing the thing. But back before that, it was like I said, it was, the Wild West, territories here, territories there, and if you just worked your territory, you were lucky to get around territory to territory. But if you were really good in your territory, people would know you from another state. They would be, oh, he's from that territory. That's Tuff Daddy, from the Northeast. He's the most extreme wrestler out there. And we didn't have the internet back then. There was none of that. It was either magazines or word of mouth. Hey, I was over here and I saw this guy fight. You should see him. He's insane. This guy, and you tell your friends, and maybe you would go to out of your territory and go to another show to see this guy, and and then start to follow them, and then maybe they would be big enough and they would make money and they would start to travel, and if they travel, they would come to your territory, and it'd be a big deal. Or you'd have two champions colliding, or two different territory champions colliding. It was a big deal back then.
And in some ways, I think they should bring back the territory days.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
not.
sure. I'm not sure I like it. It's just big companies. It's too big, I mean, yeah, you have a lot of indie wrestling, but you don't have a lot of mainstream wrestling. You got two big companies. You got a couple of smaller than that, and then that's it. As far as what gets on TV, everything else is just local. And IWTV is a great source, but that's not general access to everybody. That's if you have to order, you have to have an app, you have to, be able to watch the app. Not everybody has those technological, advances, I would say. Especially the older generations, they're like, what's IWTV? How do I watch the wrestling? And I'm just
And
like...
you watch a lot of the indie stuff now on Pluto TV too.
You can, though. You can. And a lot of the promotions are uploading their stuff to that, which is nice. And that's a free, free TV to watch. And that's another thing that's great. So, I mean, there is ways, and wrestling is, kind of getting out there. More ways than ever, even though, it's kind of also a double-edged sword where the social media end of it is kind of like, now you got a billion fans all feuding over, their takes and what they think is right and wrong in the wrestling business. But, like I said, that's for another episode too. But, so we're going to have to just kind of see how this plays out with Victoria Fox. Again, I'm going to try to reach out to her. I don't know if she's going to even respond to me. But I do know this, like I said, Tuff. I'm going to personally come out next show. I'll be there to help you. You're not going to have to worry. You can at least sleep peacefully knowing that.
I definitely appreciate it. And yeah, I don't know why I seem to be the target for so many people, but it is what it is.
Well, you're used to it, so all I can say is I guess watch your back and keep doing what you're doing, and we'll be talking soon to you. Thank you for coming on, though.
All right, yes, and thank you, brother.
Have a good one. Always a pleasure talking with Tuff Daddy. What a good time. And yeah, Extreme Underground Club. It's pretty cool. It is some kind of old school kind of wrestling. Something different. Kind of getting into it, as they send me these videos. Back and forth, trying to get to know the names. Some of these wrestlers I do know. Some of them I don't. And like I said, I saw Tuff Daddy on the roster. I was like, ooh, this is somebody I know. They reached out to him. Cool. They grabbed him. They asked me to do the commentary, and I said, why not? It's something fun, something different. I don't mind doing it. I like to have a little fun with it. Nothing disrespectful, nothing crazy, just a little fun. But yeah, and it's been kind of cool. Every Monday I release another match, and today what they gave me, though, and I released was the beating of Tuff Daddy by Victoria Fox. She just really just jumped him in the back room while he was, changing or doing whatever he was doing, getting ready. And it was just vicious. It was brutal. You can check it up on the YouTube. You can see all of it. And next Monday, check out another one. And another match will be up and out and available for you to enjoy. We got a bunch of other stuff coming up soon. We're going to be talking Limitless Wrestling and other great promotions and shows. So you're just going to have to wait and see and stay tuned here at VSW Podcast. It's been a pleasure. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner. Have yourself a great night. And you can catch